Last week we heard about Jesus and the disciples trying to get away from the crowd to rest and eat in peace. And we know they failed. Regardless of where they went, the crowds found some way to find them. And we wondered about today's lesson. And so this is where we pick up. In today's gospel, Jesus doesn't rebuke the crowds. Rather, as evening comes, he is concerned for them. He asks the disciples, where will we get food to feed these people? Some had come to see and hear Jesus. Some had come to be healed. And some, perhaps most, had come to see him work his miracles. But he knew who was there. And that's a simple lesson for us. Like Jesus, we too should be concerned about the welfare of people, even if they're not interested in the gospel. Now, think about Philip's response. 8 months' wages would not be enough to buy bread. Things really haven't changed that much, have they? Whenever a problem arises, the first thing that many think about is money. Money is rarely the answer. Look at the society in which we live. We are the wealthiest nation in the world. No one, no country has existed with more wealth than what we sit on today. And yet, millions are homeless. And 11 million children go hungry every day. And many thousands, if not millions, suffer from untreated mental illness. On the other end of the spectrum, we have the super rich, which earn more money than you or I will earn in our lifetime. In one day, think about that. In one day, just the interest on their account will earn more than probably this entire room will earn combined in their lifetime. And in the middle, many spend their entire lives chasing money, and for what? My father would have said, you can't take it with you. Or as an old Scottish saying says, there are no pockets in a shroud. And money is not the answer to the disciples' problems, because even if they had the money, it was evening and there was nowhere to purchase bread. Yes, money can sometimes help if spent properly. Perhaps it could solve hunger, poverty, homelessness, maybe even most diseases. Yes, we can solve a lot of issues for others with money, but money is not a panacea for all our troubles. And we need to remember that our first priority is people. Now let's turn to Andrew. It seems like Andrew is always bringing someone to Jesus. Today's story, he brings a little boy who brought his lunch with him. Perhaps he packed it himself, or perhaps his mother packed it for him. Think about what happens next. In a crowd of thousands, a little boy offers you his lunch. We might chuckle and say something like, "That's very nice, son, but run along now. We're busy." It would have been easy for Andrew to laugh at the meager lunch as an answer to the problem that confronted them. The little boy could have looked at his lunch and thought, "No sense in offering this. It's barely enough for me." Instead, he offered it to Jesus. It was all he had, but he was willing to put it at the disposal of Jesus. And that's where we go wrong. We too can be guilty of thinking that what we have to offer is insignificant or worthless, not worth offering to God. What if the little boy thought that way? "I'm just a kid. I'm not good enough for Jesus. If I give it up, what will I eat?" Let's be honest. Those are the thoughts which often enter our hearts when we face a challenging situation. Instead of searching for a solution, often we're looking for an excuse. But Andrew and the little boy did not listen to those temptations. They brought what they had, and the rest was up to Jesus. It's easy to find excuses and not address the problems, but how often do we miss the opportunity to solve a problem because we believe that what has been offered is too meager or insignificant? Now, I'm not sure what Andrew was thinking. He must have had great faith to take that little boy to Jesus. But that's the key. He did. And that's the real lesson today. It's not what you bring to Jesus that matters. It's the fact that you offer it. If we are able to be like the little boy, if so, offer what you have to Christ. As little or as insignificant as you may think of it, in the hands of Christ, it will be more than enough to meet the needs of the moment. Jesus didn't need that lunch to feed the people, but it was the means by which he chose to feed them. And perhaps you and I are the means by which he chooses, which God can choose to meet the needs of many. We may be surprised what great things God can do with our meager resources in ways that we could never imagine. We should all be more like Andrew and that little boy. Like Andrew, seeking to bring people to Christ, and like the little boy, giving what he had to Jesus. And maybe, just maybe, providing the means of a miracle. Amen.